Of course, we try to do our best. We try to communicate more and more openly than ever before. But then there are new challenges coming from some of our member states where some political leaders don't respect the liberal democracy to the same extent than before. So the whole European integration and the European Union is based on liberal democratic values, including rule of law. And now, out of a sudden, there are political leaders who think that Russian type of democracy is much better than liberal democracy. And that brings a whole new set of challenges, because it's not only about being transparent and communicate better or being more modern, but if you have to fight against the values or against those who don't respect liberal democracy. This is not the European problem.
Sure, and I know your manners are too great to say this is about Mr. Orban or this is about the Visegrad 4 as a whole, but I know that's where you're going as well. But can you honestly say that because of what we've seen from these type politicians in the Czech Republic, in Slovakia, especially in Hungary, which I think you're alluding to really there, that hasn't led to extremism in stable, long-term Western democracies, though, has it?
We are not there yet, but there are risks. Like countries like Poland, Hungary or Romania, they are deviating from the sustainable democratic, liberal democratic path. And this is, to my opinion, it's the biggest challenge the EU is facing currently. But we can avoid the catastrophes to happen if the other member states and political leaders speak openly and say to those politicians who don't respect liberal democracy that you are in wrong path and change the course.
Everything you've mentioned gets worse before it gets better, because I think that main political parties are looking for a bruising in these parliamentary elections coming up this spring, aren't they? I see all the trends we just mentioned, that the rise of populism, extremism, fragmentation, this disrespect for liberal democracy, that's all coming to the fore in May, isn't it?
Well, yeah. According to the latest opinion poll, those political forces who are anti-Europeans could gain 155 seats in the European Parliament. It's more than today, but clearly a minority. So 155 out of 705. So they will be in minority. But nevertheless, the other challenge is that once the established or traditional parties will lose their support, there's a need for wide coalition in order to get comfortable majority. Normally, it has been enough that center-right and center-left has found each other and form a coalition. They have managed to form a comfortable majority. But next spring, I guess, there will be 4 or 5 political movements or parties needed for forming a majority. And this again means that governing is becoming more difficult.
Interesting, you said these are the biggest threats to the European project rather than Brexit at the moment as well. Let's talk about Brexit. I know it's not you running it. I know there are other people running it. But I mean, you are a commissioner and you are a representative. So why doesn't the Commission throw Mrs May a bone and get this done as well? Because the consequences of Mrs May failing could be quite catastrophic. There could be a no deal. There could be all kinds of issues. I mean, I know some people in Europe want a second referendum, but is that the right way constitutionally? Give Mrs May something.
Well, there's very little what EU 27 can give to UK, because the whole idea is that 27 member states want to safeguard status quo. We just want to let one member out of the union because they have decided to do so, sure. But we want to maintain status quo as it is today. There is no point that just because of Brexit, 27 member states should suffer.
I couldn't agree more, but we're arguing over a time limit to something that the British don't want, the European Commission doesn't want, neither Northern Ireland or the Republic don't want as well. Let's just put a time limit on backstop. It's done then, isn't it?
Yeah, so the problem is that we don't know what Britain wants. And that has been the problem since the very beginning when we started to negotiate with UK. So we have not got any news or new indications from the Westminster that which direction they are heading to. So we are just following what UK government is doing, what UK Parliament is doing, and we try to help them to get out of the EU if they really wish so.